Well, the ANC is this afternoon hosting a dialogue with stakeholders in the energy sector. The session is taking place at the University of Johannesburg and is aimed to bring about solutions to the country's energy crisis. South Africa is battling various stages of load shedding that have negatively impacted the country's economic growth, increasing the risk of recession. SABC economics reporter Katlego Legodi is at the ANC Energy Dialogue and joins us live. Katlego, a very good afternoon to us. Talk to us about what the expectation really is this afternoon at this dialogue. Some people are even saying that, it was planned in order to have people ignoring what the DA was doing today in terms of marching to House. Was it a way to divert attention? Is that the sense that you're getting? What can you tell us about what's taking place?
Well, a very good afternoon to you, Flo, and to our viewers at home. Well, that sentiment can really be qualified looking at the fact that the ANC has been running marathon engagements to try by all means to just come across as a party that is concerned around the energy crisis that we find ourselves in. Today, we're coming to you from the University of Johannesburg. You're right there. This is where the parties this afternoon are gathering a whole lot of stakeholders from the energy sector to come through and try craft solutions around the energy crisis. There have been concerns, Flo, from various quarters in terms of how the rolling blackouts have really affected a whole lot of industries and the economy of the country that has been sluggish over time. So those are the issues that are going to come under the spotlight. The ANC are telling us that, of course, from the 55th National Conference that they held in December going into January, they were also focusing on really coming through with solutions to the energy crisis. But it remains to be seen how that is going to plan out. As we know very well that there's also that report that was released last week by the Crisis Committee that's just letting us in on the 2 years of a plan that's just to do away with load shedding. But most people are looking to the governing ANC to come up with those solutions that will do away with load shedding altogether. It's been a busy day for the African National Congress, and we were expecting to have this session here start at 3 p.m. but it's been delayed, and we are told that ministers that are going to be present here is the Minister of Energy, Gwede Mantashe. Mameloko Kubai is also coming to be here alongside all other formations from the energy sector that will come through with solutions around what needs to happen as the country is battling under this rolling blackouts. But I'm going to bring into the conversation now Mr. Matthew Parks, who is from COSATU. He's the parliamentary coordinator of COSATU, and you are one person that we know very well that you've been really vocal around what has been happening or where the issue of energy is concerned. And we know COSATU has also been vocal around the ANC getting it right and ensuring that we move out of this crisis that we find ourselves in. Welcome to the SABC. Just let us in on your expectations this afternoon.
Yeah, sure. So look, we appreciate these kind of engagements. We met with the President last week. We've had meetings at NEDLAC, meeings with different government departments and so on. I think for us that's fine. We need to have some consultation. Government needs to explain what's going on, what's the plan, equally for the ANC too, because this is the key challenge facing society right now. But what we need to see is more action. We know what needs to be done. We've been discussing this thing since 2006. And in fact, in 2019, as COSATU, we drafted an Eskom Social Compact, which was signed by government at NEDLAC in 2020. But we don't see sufficient action. So something that need to be done immediately to try to help alleviate the situation. So ramping up maintenance in a strategic way, which Eskom, I think, is trying to do, try to ease the load shedding. They're talking about bringing on board an additional 900 megawatts by March, which can help reduce load shedding and so forth. Those are the kind of things we need to see. But we also need to see government moving much faster to give us additional support to Eskom. Eskom doesn't have money to pay for diesel, which helps to alleviate load shedding. So government needs to assist. The Department of Mineral Resources and Energy needs to give Eskom a diesel import license to help reduce this cost that it spends on buying diesel, helps to reduce load shedding as well. Those are some of the urgent kind of short-term measures, but we need to address the fundamental cause of the crisis we're in right now. So that goes to bring on board new generation capacity. We've neglected that for since the early 2000s. We've been having this discussion. We need to see government be much greater to reduce the regulatory blockages, the time periods to bring on board new generation capacity. There may be some commitments on that, but we've seen that commitment before. We need to see now energy generation feeding into the grid. You need to see government doing much more to give Eskom support around maintenance, including buying of parts, ramping up the maintenance program and so forth. But again, Eskom cannot do everything on its own. There's a debt of 51 billion rand and rising by various municipalities to Eskom. We have not seen Treasury or COGTA or SAGA lifting a single figure to assist Eskom. Tshwane municipality alone owes about 1.4 billion rand to Eskom. Eskom's annual loss is about 20 billion rand. So how can Eskom deliver on its mandate if so many government departments, municipalities, and even members of society are not paying Eskom yet expect a service? So it cannot work both ways. We had hoped in 2019 government will already follow up on our proposal on how to help Eskom manage its debt burden of 400 billion rand. The Minister of Finance has said they're going to make an announcement in the budget speech in February. We hope that will happen. It needs to be at least 2/3 of Eskom's debt burden, so it can take what money it has and focus on maintenance, focus on new generation capacity, and not be focusing on paying off debt. We're in a national crisis and government has to contribute. We have to get every single support we can to Eskom. But also, as a society, it's not sustainable if 60% of society is paying for electricity in advance, prepaid. Most residents, most workers. Yet you have about 40%, including many municipalities, many large companies, and even parastatals who pay Eskom when they feel like it. That's not a sustainable way. Imagine if you operated a petrol station like that, pay when you feel like it. It would collapse immediately. And it's not fair for society to be squeezed with unaffordable double-digit tariff hikes every single year, like the one of 18% now, 12% next year. And yet we allow those who don't want to pay to continue not to pay. It can't work like that. Eskom has begun to recover some of those stolen monies, stolen by individuals, by corrupt people in the business sector. They've recovered about 5 billion rand. But we need to see the law enforcement, the police, the SIU, the Hawks, the state security, if they still exist, also supporting Eskom. Because Eskom can't arrest anybody. It's not a law enforcement agency. So there are things that are doing, but we need to do much more. But we think also, COSATU, we don't have the luxury of time. So if Eskom talks about a 24-month plan to end load shedding, we don't have that space. We can maybe manage 6 months. We need to see significant progress. Government Eskom must do much better to say in March we'll bring on board additional 900 megawatts or 2,000 megawatts is going to take us to level 2. And April will do this, take us to that. But we don't have a luxury space to sustain 10 hours of load shedding for 24 months. We'll have no economy left. Unemployment will shoot past 43%, maybe even 50%. Politically, the ANC also can't afford to go into an election in 15 months' time with this level of load shedding. No political party can survive this level of calamity.
Mr. Parks, thank you very much for your time. Of course, Flo, it's a race against time when you look at it in terms of solutions that are needed here where this dialogue session is concerned. We're expecting some of those government officials and ministers that are going to form part of this, a dialogue here, a session, to try by all means to allay fears from sectors from the energy, formation, to try by all means to also pick into their brains in terms of what are they proposing. You had Mr. Marx there saying that it's a race against time. We can't afford to wait for 24 months as the country is battling like this. I must say to you, the country is losing about 1.5 billion rand to 4 billion rand daily as those blackouts continue unabated. But of course, this dialogue here is going to continue well into the evening, and we're expecting to see those solutions coming from those that have gathered here today. Flo?
All right, Katlego, let's catch up later on then when, of course, that session does indeed get underway. When the program does start, we'll certainly cross back to the University of Johannesburg. That's Katlego Legodi, economics reporter. He's at that ANC Energy Dialogue, which is set to begin shortly at the University of Johannesburg. We'll certainly take you live there.